on YouTube, Facebook, and X. And for the premier sports talk experience, tap into our Roku channel. Start your mornings with Mac and Jack covering all the weekend sports action. Then pour a cup and enjoy all the sports you can drink on the Coffee and Sports podcast. At midday, talk sports from east to west on the Coast to Coast podcast. Followed at night by some hot girl talk with Prim and Proper Sports featuring Sonia Pearson. Talk boxing on the Gloved Fist. Yankee fans tune in for Start Spreading the News. And there's more on the College Sports Huddle and Sports Scope with Robert Butler. And that's just a sampling. There are 20 podcasts in all and 70 weekly shows giving us a 3.4-star viewer rating. To find us on Roku TV, search for National Streaming Sports on the Roku search bar. Click on the logo and you're in. For laptops, mobile phones, and tablets, download the Roku app. National Streaming Sports, live and on demand, sports talk for America.
This show is brought to you by BetUS.com. 125% off your first 3 deposits, 30 years experience, secure site, wagering for all sports, including during the games and futures. SeatGeek provides you the best prices on sports and music events, game tickets, and concerts. Use NSS promo code to get $20 off your first ticket. Keep using the NSS promo code when purchasing tickets for great deals in the future. In Fanatics at nessp.info for your favorite teams, sportswear. Click on the link, and while you're there, check out our national streaming sports merchandise.
The liberty to, be on the back bus behind the Yankees, go through, take part. That would be the proper thing to do, Mac. It would.
Be on the back bus. I don't know how.
Let's face it. If the Yankees don't win the World Series, that can't be a ticker-tape parade for the Liberty. Are you kidding me? It would be a waste of taxpayers' money. People in New York, for the most part, aren't even aware the Liberty exists. But if the Yankees win the World Series, let the Liberty have their own cause.
Yes. Folks, there you go. Jack's feelings on the WNBA. So there you go. Jack, I don't know, but we played that, of course, a couple times, and it's over almost 100 plays already, and probably growing more and more since it was shared around, Jack. Good morning to everyone. And we got a lot of sports to talk about today, of course, as we always do. A lot of sports broke overnight. And, of course, one of the biggest stories was the Rookie of the Year Cy Young winner in the same year. Had a great series against the Yankees in 81. Fernando Valenzuela, Jack. I know you watched him. I watched him. What are your thoughts, Jack?
Yeah, Fernando Valenzuela was baseball's equivalent of a rock star. The way he burst onto the scene, he was an absolute sensation. There were 3 pitchers in my lifetime, and neither are the 3 in the Hall of Fame, who created the biggest buzz in baseball just coming out of nowhere. They would be Vida Blue when he had that sensational year with the Oakland A's. Mark Fidrich, more for his antics, the way he talked to the ball, even though he was a heck of a pitcher when he first came up, in Fernando Valenzuela. But if you had to say amongst the 3 who was the most charismatic, it was Fernando Valenzuela. He was kind of Ohtani before Ohtani, came in. As far as the charisma aspect, the buzz, he was box office. I mean, you could maybe include pitchers like Dwight Gooden in there, as well if you want. But there was no one like Fernando, the way he packed them in. The stands would be full game after game after game, wherever he went. I mean, just the buzz he created. And he had the perfect manager from Tommy Lasorda, who took it all in, who could talk a mile a minute, about Fernando. Very humble guy, tremendous pitcher. He worked as a broadcaster for the Dodgers when his playing days were over. And he took some time off recently to concentrate on it, his health issues.
Yeah.
But I mean, very much remembered. He's not in the Hall of Fame himself, but certain of his artifacts, balls he used and so on. And what a buzz that he created. I mean, and he was a solid pitcher otherwise throughout his career. He wasn't like a one-hit wonder who just burst onto the scene and then kind of faded out. I mean, he had a good career, not quite a Hall of Fame career, but a good career. And if you want to consider the buzz he created, Mac, and the charisma he had, yeah, you can make a case for the Hall of Fame for him because it's called Hall of Fame. Fame
right.
Meaning famous, and very few pitchers were as famous as Fernando Valenzuela.
Yeah, he was a big draw. The Hispanic people would just pour into the stands.
Box office, that's the best way to describe him.
Very good.
Fernando Box Office Valenzuela.
Yeah. He passes away at 63 years old, kind of young for today's standards. But, of course, he'll be remembered as a Dodger, even with the Dodgers for a long time. So the NBA started yesterday, Jack, and the Celtics really had their way with the Knicks. It looked like Boston looked like a team that plays together for over last year, right? I mean, they were raining down threes. They just looked good. The Knicks look like a team that's still trying to figure out how to play each other, how to space each other, how to play together as a team. But Boston really pulled away 132 to 109, Jack. And I mean, by the end of the year, the Knicks will be fine. There's only one game, but they were pretty much embarrassed yesterday with all the shots that were made by Boston, especially the three-pointers.
I wouldn't say they pulled away. They put the game on ice in the first period, basically, jumping up to like a 23-point. Like they made 29 three-pointers, the Celtics. They set an NBA record. They were defending their championship banner. It was their first game, the whole ceremony and the whole bit. First game back, defending champions. They would have beaten anyone last night. If I'm the Knicks, it's a throwaway game. Just forget about it. You have Karl Anthony Towns, even though he had just a so-so game yesterday. It was his debut. It's a new era for the Knicks. They'll be learning to play together. They'll be fine. Just forget yesterday what happened. It was just a throwaway game. And yeah, the Celtics are a better team than the Knicks right now. Yeah, so who cares? Who cares, Mac? It's who's going to be the better team at the end of the season. And that's what it's about, getting it together, improving as the season gets along, the various units learning to play together better. It was Mikal Bridges' debut, Karl Anthony Towns. It's a new era for the Knicks. It's a throwaway game. They weren't going to beat the Celtics no matter what, the way the Celtics played yesterday. And the Celtics aren't going to be able to play like this, again, outside of maybe one given game now and then. So I wouldn't worry about it if I were the Knicks. I wouldn't take anything out of this game at all. It was basically a Celtics celebration of their championship, and they weren't going to get beaten yesterday.
I agree with 95% of what you said there. I think there are some things that the Knicks really got to work on, and they traded away a couple of players that, especially DiVincenzo, who was a good defender outside on the three-point line or just from outside shots. And they need to work on that, Jack, because they really weren't covering up the outside shots. You got to put a little pressure on these guys and fight through those screens. So I think they need to work on that a little bit. And, for New York Knicks fans, they want to measure where they're at right now. And they just found out that maybe the biggest signings of the offseason were the Celtics just signing their old players back again and taking another run at it. So I agree with you. The Knicks will be better by the end of the year. Maybe they are in the top three of the NBA. They just didn't look like it. And the Celtics, I give them credit. They played. They just shot.
It means virtually nothing. Yesterday's game, Mac. I'm going to tell you that it means virtually nothing. All it does is reinforce what we know. The Celtics an elite team. The Knicks will be fine, no problem. As far as you mentioned DiVincenzo. Oh, the Knicks, they don't have DiVincenzo. They can miss him. He didn't do anything for the Timberwolves yesterday, coming off the bench. Come on. He didn't do anything in the
I'm not saying he did.
The Lakers yesterday. He's a good player. He's a very good player.
I'm just saying defensively, the Knicks need some work outside for sure, Jack. I'm definitely going to work on that. That's Thibodeau's thing is defense. And yesterday, the Knicks really couldn't defend the outside shot at all. And that's where
no one could have beaten the Celtics yesterday the way the Celtics were shooting, setting an NBA record 29 3-pointers. It's a game. Just forget about the game. The Knicks are going to be fun. The Knicks might struggle for 10, 12 games. Maybe they'll be, 5-7, 6-6, and then they'll take off. That there's not going to be a problem. The Knicks are going to have a really good year, and they're going to contend for the NBA title this year. Whether they get by the Celtics when all said and done remains to be seen. But like I said earlier, all that matters is who's the best team by the end of the year. If the Knicks are improving a lot and they're there come playoff time and they hit a certain peak, they're going to be a very dangerous challenger for the Celtics, as might a couple of other teams as well.
Definitely. The Lakers beat Minnesota 110-103. Anthony Davis gets 36 points, 16 rebounds. Hachimura had a nice game. Minnesota Anthony Edwards had 27, Randall 16. Bronny James gets in the game in the second quarter with his father, LeBron James. And I hope this is it until we're done talking about this, until Bronny James actually plays a good game in the NBA, because I don't care about him and his father on the court at the same time. It's a nice thing. It's a great thing. First time in history in NBA. But let's stop with this Bronny LeBron thing, because every time he goes on the court with him, I don't want to be seeing stories about it all the time.
No, it's interesting. Listen, it's interesting to hear about it. I mean, just the idea that you're mentioning it, it's newsworthy, because LeBron is such a compelling personality. And he's worked towards this moment with his son for so long, and that's all we've heard about the last couple of years.